Welcome to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison.
I'm Molly, a former skeptic, now full-time energy healer, author, and your resident science meets spirit nerd.
And I'm Madison, a born and raised witch, teacher of the craft, and owner of not one, not two, but 3 metaphysical businesses.
Together we dig into low-effort witchcraft, spirituality, and the science that backs it all up, all with humor, heart, and a sprinkle of chaos.
So whether you're a curious skeptic or a seasoned witch, find a cozy spot, take a deep breath, and let's demystify some magic.
Howdy doody, friends.
Hello. We've had quite the influx of new listeners in the last few months.
Mm-hmm.
And it's come to our attention that maybe you guys don't know the lore.
The important lore.
And so as we still recover from the Greek pantheon deep dive that we are still coming off the back of, we thought it might be fun to do a little lore drop. Yeah. This episode,
you may have heard us referencing a certain mouse.
A certain pendulum.
This is the episode that it came from. We feel you need to listen to it. It's been buried in the archives, but it's a good one. It's all about the science behind how pendulums work and how you can use pendulums in your practice. And I think it's one of our most memorable episodes, personally.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
The thought that some of you maybe hadn't heard it yet was distressing on our nervous system.
Truly distressing. We need everyone. We're all in this together. And we need to all just have this same inside joke. And so what I'm going to need you to do is when you get to the part, and you'll know it, that references the mouse, drop a mouse in the comments so we know that you're on the inside. And then we can start referencing that in future episodes again.
Because I miss that joke. I really do.
I do too. I love that joke so much. I put it in my fucking book. We have a t-shirt with that joke on it. I fear it's not appreciated enough. So we're dropping that lore. And if you're like, oh, I want a new episode. Well, I just dropped a whole new podcast for you. You got 10 episodes to go binge on the Science of Reiki podcast. So if you haven't gone over there and subscribed, you should do that. And if you like this episode and the sciencey parts, I think you'd like the Science of Reiki podcast too.
You might miss me, but that's okay. I think Molly makes up for it.
Yeah, I mean, you're there in spirit.
Always.
Anyways, enjoy this rerun, and we love you.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Howdy doody, friends.
Howdy doody da.
We have the most chaotic energy right now. We got on Zoom maybe 5 minutes ago, decided what we were going to talk about, and just pressed record. So Godspeed, everybody. Get ready to rock and roll.
Normally we piddle for about 40 minutes, but we were like, nope, we're on it. Let's bang this out.
Normally there's a lot of catching up to do, but we've saved it all for this moment. So get ready for peak Molly and Madison energy.
Good luck.
Good luck to us all. So today we are talking about what is, in my practice at least, one of the most underrated spiritual tools.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking pendulums.
Pendulums.
I love a pendulum aesthetically. I love them energetically. And I love the science of them. So I'm so excited to geek out. But first, Molly, what was your magic moment this week? I think we already know.
Okay, so my magic moment is like a little bit unbelievable. And I can't wait to listen to last week's Molly on the pod and listen to a version of me that had no idea this was coming, but Reiki training sold out in 12 minutes. Wild.
Listen, I'm not gonna be that person, but I was watching the clock and I feel like I was the only one who was wildly unsurprised by this information. You were like, well, it's sold out, it happened. And I'm like, really? It took a whole 12? I was expecting 6.
To the point where I had to open a second round of training dates and a second round of spots, and those sold out in about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was bonkers. That was almost to give y'all a little, because I know a lot of you were watching my Instagram stories, seeing this happen in real time, but I want to share with you some behind the scenes. So my husband, as we've talked about, he's a skeptic. He's also not on social media, and he has never run a business. So he doesn't understand really what I do. He only understands like what I share with him. And in the past, I've never had Reiki training fill this fast. I think the fastest I've had a training fill was like 4 days or something. And so I have this little card that I write the number of spots before I open the doors, and I handwrite everyone's name on it. And so I have my clipboard, and I refreshed my page when the doors open. And I was like, oh, great, there's like 12 people in. So I write all their names down, and then I refresh, and I'm like, oh my God, there's 20 more people. And I write all their names down. And to the point where like 3 minutes in, my husband walks into my office and I'm frantically scribbling. And he's like, what do you need? And I was like, call the contractor, babe. We're renovating the house. And he was like, what is going on? And then like 20 minutes later, I come downstairs. I'm just like floating. And he's like, what happened? I was like, Reiki training just sold out in 12 minutes. And now I don't know what to do for the rest of the day.
Because my hand's cramping.
I know. It's like, what is happening? So anyways, if you got into the training, I'm so excited to work with you. If you didn't get into the training, there will be more opportunities. Make sure you're on the wait list. I thank you. Just thank you. And I'm so freaking excited.
I'm so proud of you. And I'm so excited. I even was getting messages of people being like, I made it into Reiki 1. And I was like, you go.
Someone DM'd me and compared it to waiting for Coachella tickets. Like people were waking up at like 4 a.m. because of their time zone. I was like, this is bonkers. I love it. I'm so excited.
You're the headliner of Reiki Cella 2024.
Reiki Cella 2024. Yeah. What was your magic moment?
I feel like I have been too sappy with my magic moments recently. So I'm just going to make the disclaimer now that if you have ever or will ever place an order from shopspellcrafter.com, if you're planning on coming to the grand opening or the soft opening, if you've supported the store in any way, you're my magic moment all day, every day. But I'm going to stop boring your earballs. That's a word. Hold on. Can you cut that out, Lily? That's a word.
I love boring your earballs. Keep boring your earballs. Keep it. The people want to hear the Madison-isms.
Okay. That's something that Drew and I do is we add the word balls to everything.
Yeah, that's
like
great.
We make it like eyeballs. Anyways.
Yeah. Love that.
Sorry, everyone. I'm going to stop forcing you to listen to me talk about how much I love you for placing your orders with Spellcrafter. We had another amazing launch, but it's not my magic moment. I'm going back to our roots with a magic moment today. My magic moment is a moment of true manifestation that I had to actually, I had to restrain myself from voice memoing you about it immediately when it happened because I was so proud of myself. So I know you hear me talk a lot about Taylor Swift on the pod, but there is another female artist who really does have my heart. Her name's Ethel Cain.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like my inspiration for Spellcrafter. Like I've had my real thought while curating the space has been, I want a space that makes me feel how Ethel Cain's music makes me feel. Ethel Cain's a stage name. It's a concept. Her first album, Preacher's Daughter, came out a couple years ago. It's a concept album. Trigger warning everything if you're going to listen. But if you listen to the album and read the lore, it's like chef's kiss, incredible. Molly doesn't care for it, but we don't care. She's...
It's a point of contention in our friendship.
It is, because I discovered her last year and I was like, Molly, you have to listen to this concept album. Like, I'm going crazy. I'm like deep in it. I can't stop. I literally couldn't stop thinking about her music when I first discovered it. It was like overtaking my brain regardless. She's like done the thing that artists are kind of doing now where when you're entering like a new era of your music, you like archive all your Instagram posts, you change your profile picture, you signal the transition somehow. That's been happening. I've been really keeping my eyes peeled, my ears open. I've been hot on the press. I've had my finger on the pulse of what Ethel Cain is up to.
Please tell me.
It's nothing new yet, but today I was about to leave for work and I was, going to put on Ethel Cain to drive to work. And I had the thought to myself, I wish that I had new Ethel Cain music. I am on this woman's Spotify page every day, multiple times a day. Tell me today I did not find an EP that I had never seen before from 2019.
Hey.
I manifested new Ethel Cain music.
The universe was really like, there you go.
I know. The universe had been holding on to that one for me. So I got to listen to new Ethel Cain music.
How is it?
I really like it. Her older stuff, it's just, I love to watch an artist progress through years. Ethel Cain is a character in this like first concept album that came out in 2021, I believe, maybe 2022. And so anything before that album is under the stage name, but like isn't a part of the story. And so it was really fun to see something that like wasn't attached to that very cohesive piece and like see, I don't know, I just loved it. I was so excited. It was such a treat.
What a treat. Little treat magic.
Little treat magic. All right. Now that I've rambled on. Ethel Cain, if you're listening, I love you. I would risk it all for you.
Can you imagine if we got Ethel Cain on the pod?
No, don't make me think about it. I would literally change. Sorry to everyone listening. I would transform this podcast into whatever she wanted it to be. I would literally be like, well, now we have a music podcast for this week because we're here to talk to Ethel Cain. Ethel Cain, what is your spiritual practice like? Hit my DMs. I would love to talk about it.
I feel like she's a witch. She seems witchy.
Hundo P.
Hundo P. We're manifesting Ethel Cain on the pod. If anyone wants to tag her in our stuff on Instagram, let her know.
Yeah, anyways, starting my Ethel Cain spin-off podcast. Anyways, let's just dive right in. We're going to start with the obvious of like, what is a pendulum? And I always use the phrase like, oh, when you say societally, like the pendulum is swinging back and forth, the image that you have in your head of like, oh, the pendulum is swinging back and forth of like, you know, I don't know. What do people say that about?
Yeah, I really don't know.
But whatever you see in your head when somebody says that expression, that's a pendulum.
Did that
make any sense?
Off to a strong start.
Listen, in my head, I really thought I was eating with that one.
Okay, I always think of, so I'm a New Englander, so this is not going to be relevant for anyone out who has never been to the Boston Museum of Science. But in the Boston Museum of Science, they have a giant pendulum encased in glass, and then they have dominoes around a clock face around it, and it swings on the Earth's axis and it knocks over the dominoes throughout the day.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay.
Also, can I talk about how both of us we did the thing that everyone hates, which is where in the definition of a word you use the word, where we're like, what is a pendulum? And we're like, okay, imagine this pendulum.
It's a long chain with a pointy thing on the bottom, like a dunce hat upside down made of metal. Okay, you with me?
Yep.
And they have a circle around it of dominoes, and it's encased in glass. And throughout the day, because of how the Earth spins on the axis, it knocks over dominoes that represents the time of day.
Wow, that's very cool.
The best part about this is, just think about, it's somebody's job to set up all the dominoes in the morning every single day. Just picture that person.
Right now.
Yeah, is there an image?
Oh, wow. It is way more intricate than I thought it would be. Does it have tiles on the bottom?
Yeah, Google, if you're listening to this, Google Boston Museum of Science Foucault's pendulum, or just pendulum, and it'll come up.
That is not at all what I thought. Also, that is not dominoes. In my head, I want you to know that what I saw.
But they're like little, they're like little thingies.
In my brain, I pictured literal, like, huge dominoes with the numbers on them.
No, they're regular size.
But they're not dominoes.
See this picture with the kid?
Yeah, but not with the kid. I need you guys listening to know that every day before we record, we say to ourselves, okay, we've got a hard stop at 45 minutes from now. And then 10 minutes pass and we're on Google Images looking and arguing about what is and is not a domino.
Okay, so it's not a domino, but it's like a little metal thingy that it knocks over. Anyways, that's what I picture when I think of a pendulum.
Well, now it's all I'm going to see too.
I know. In reality, a pendulum is defined as a weight hung from a fixed point so that it can swing freely backwards and forwards, especially a rod with a weight at the end that regulates the mechanism of a clock.
Oh, yeah. I guess it is like that's what's in a grandfather clock, huh?
Yeah.
That would have been a better image than just saying the word pendulum over and over again in different scenarios.
But in reality, I love that definition because a lot of times we think of in the world of spiritual practices, a pendulum has to be like a pointed crystal on like a sterling silver strand hung from a whatever. But in reality, like I've used my Apple phone charger as a pendulum. I've used my hoodie strings as a pendulum. You can use your body as a pendulum.
Ooh, yeah.
And you have a favorite too.
Oh, yes. My newest favorite DIY homemade pendulum has been any like weighty necklace. So I have been on jewelry TikTok recently. It's like overtaken my life. And so it's like put me on Etsy looking for pendants and charms and things. And I found someone who makes these little pendant charms that you can put on a necklace. So you just like hold the rest of the charms and the chain and use, and it's like a pendulum that goes with you wherever you go. And yes, I've been, refreshing it every 45 minutes for the past 2 weeks, thinking about whether or not I should buy it.
But really any of those things will work. And people always ask me, like, I remember my first year on TikTok, I had a video about pendulums go viral, and all the comments were like, you could see her hand moving. You could see her hand moving. Her hand's moving it. And then I made a video reply, and I was like, yeah, no shit, that's how they work. Because if you're ready to geek out about the science, Madison.
This is my favorite thing ever. This is my favorite bit. If you listen regularly, you know that I am not always the science girly on this podcast. I leave it to the experts. This is something that I love to read about and love to talk to people about in the shop because it is such an interesting bit of science that like stuns skeptics in the way that they think they're owning me with it. And I get to be like, no, isn't that so cool? Yeah.
This is my Roman Empire of science and spirituality meeting. So a lot of times, like when we'll talk about uses for pendulums, but one of the best ways you can use it is to tap into your intuition and specifically into like your subconscious, which kind of like goes hand in hand with your intuition. So if you're sort of like facing a decision and you're not sure which direction to go, you can ask your pendulum for answers. And the answer that's coming to you is actually coming from your subconscious, your intuition, your inner wisdom. And so a lot of times skeptics will be like, oh, your hand is just moving it. Ugh. And yes, that is exactly how it works. Your hand is in fact moving it. So you hold it up like almost like you were holding a dead mouse by its tail. Okay, so just picture how you would hold that.
Why did it have to be dead?
Because if it's a live mouse, you're gonna like cup it in your hands.
Why am I holding a dead mouse? That's just not where I thought you
I don't know. This is not a visual medium. I had to give people an image that they could hold on to.
That's certainly
okay. Wet sock. How would you hold a wet sock?
Both of these are visceral images.
Okay, so you hold.
You pinch it. You pinch it.
Pinch it. And you let your hand go slack, like you're sprinkling salt into a soup. There we go. Salt for protection.
I'm having an out-of-body experience. Because you said you hold a pendulum, how you hold a dead mouse. Maybe we need the 45 minutes of chit-chatting before we press record. Because this is terrifying.
This is very much giving our energy shifting vibe where we talked about Draco Malfoy for like 10 minutes. Which apparently you all love because it's our number 4 most popular episode of all time.
And y'all should not have given us permission to be so candid. Like, it probably would have been best for everyone if you guys had said that you didn't like that episode so we could hold on to a semblance of professionalism. But now we're talking about dead mice.
Okay, anyway, so you hold your pendulum up and you let your wrist go slack. And then you ask the question and it will basically like either swing in one direction if it's yes or swing in another direction if it's no. And skeptics will always say like, oh, you can move your hand moving it or like, ooh, like your hand is the one doing it. And like, yes, that's true. The reason that this works is because your body makes tiny micro movements based on your subconscious. So it's basically like a little flicker of your muscles that comes from your subconscious. So it's kind of like that gut instinct made tangible through your muscles. And it's so small that we can't really pick up on it with our conscious mind, but it changes the direction or the way that the pendulum swings because you're holding it slack and because it's working with like gravity and changing that direction based on that tiny little micro movement. So when people say like, oh, you're moving it, like, yes, that is the point. That is what we are doing here. Yes, we are trying to tap into our intuition, which is in the subconscious mind, which is communicated through those tiny muscular movements. So it's like almost like making that tiny little movement more visual because it's in that pendulum form.
Yeah, it's like giving your subconscious an avenue with which like to deliver messages.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I think is so interesting about this as like because I've seen a lot of people who debunk spiritual practices online cite, like, I think there was like a study done about the micro movements that you like, why pendulums work and that it is these micro movements. And they'll cite this study a lot. And what's so interesting is it only takes a small mental shift to see that this is also a spiritual response, because the total, like, completely 100% spiritual, what a lot of people also still believe is that spirit or spirits who have passed are moving the pendulum rather than you.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the difference if someone is moving the piece at the bottom of the pendulum or if someone is moving your finger in the smallest of ways?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Or like, I also think like, it's so interesting because I feel like I don't work with spirits, so I don't want to be like, this is the exact answer. But like the way that I interpret working with spirits in this way is like a lot similar to how I work with my guides, which is essentially they bring clarity to my inner wisdom and my intuition. So if I'm like doing a spiritual practice where I'm calling in my guides, they're supporting me, but they're not the ones doing the working. And I see the same with pendulums. It's like, okay, they might be whispering in my ear in a way that I can't consciously hear, but my intuition hears it. And so the body is still responding in that way.
Yeah, exactly. And so this thing that a lot of people see as like, oh, pendulums debunked, is actually like pendulums explained in a way that makes it even more deeply profound. Because that's like the whole thing that we talk about all the time here, is that you are what holds the power. You know,
you are the magic.
You are the magic. And so how would a pendulum be any different, that like some outside force that is completely separate from you is moving this pendulum? And the thing is, I do believe that that's the case sometimes. Like, I do believe that an outside force can move a pendulum in a way, but I do think that it's also likely the way that I would be moving it with those micro movements anyways. Like those things just feel so interconnected to me that it doesn't matter.
But here's the thing, Madison. An outside force is always going to be moving the pendulum because gravity is an outside force.
Ooh, so true.
Right? So it's like, okay, so are we debunking gravity now? Because that's a can of worms we could open.
Yeah.
So let's talk about ways we can use pendulums. The first thing, we didn't write this down, Madison, but I feel like it's important to talk about like how to start working with a pendulum, because a lot of times I get people asking me like, oh, my pendulum's swinging this way. What does that mean? And we can't answer that for you.
Yes. I was just thinking that of when we start talking a little bit more about divination, I was going to share how I start working with a pendulum. So every pendulum is going to be different. And because it's working with your subconscious has to set the rules. Yes. And so you'll see a lot of people say like, oh, you know, back and forth means yes, side to side means no. And that can be true. That is how it works a lot of the time for me. Or I know a lot of people will be like, a clockwise circle is yes, a counterclockwise circle is no. Every time I get a new pendulum, I ask the pendulum what the rules are. Yeah. So I'll sit with it, impart some of my energy on it, you know, like spend a little bit of time with it. Sometimes I'll sit it with my crystals for a little while before I use it. And then I'll sit with it and ask, can you show me your yes? Can you show me your no?
Yeah. I'll do that and then I'll test it.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll say like, is my name Molly? And see which direction it goes in. And then I'll say like, am I 6'4"? And see which direction it goes in. Yeah.
Something else that I think is important and helpful is to ask like, show me your maybe, or show me your like, I'm not answering that type vibe. Like, because sometimes like no matter how long I sit, my pendulum will just stay still. Like, nope, zip lip, I'm not answering that. And I think that is something important to know going into it.
If that ever happens, I always ask, do you need me to ask in a different way?
I like that question.
Yes. So you're gonna get to know your pendulum, find out your yes, your no. It's gonna be different for everyone. It may be even different every time you use it. So I usually start a session with my pendulum by asking, show me yes, show me no. Is my name Molly? Am I 6'4"? Do you need me to ask it a different way? What's your maybe? Kind of just check in. It doesn't take very long, especially after like you get to know it. I feel like the first time I work with a pendulum, it's a little bit slow to show me, but then the next time I work with it, it's a lot faster.
I've never had that experience of like feeling the need to ask for the yes and no every time. Like, what led you to start doing that? That's so interesting to me.
Okay, so my truth is that I have ADHD, as we know, and I forget that pendulums exist. So I pick up my pendulum and I use it very regularly, and then I put it down, and then I forget it exists, and then like a couple months later I pick it up again, and I just want to make sure that it's it's still in tune.
Okay,
we're still on the same page.
I'm caught up. I'm caught up. I was like, that is a pendulum I would not want to work with, because if you're changing the rules every time I pick you up.
No, it's not that it changes. It's just that I see it as like getting on the same page, like because sometimes I'll pick it up and it will be slower to respond. And I'm like, okay, we need to just like warm up. It's kind of like doing a warm up before we do an exercise, you know?
Got it. I see. I like that, because I can often struggle with that. I don't know if anybody else has this experience, and maybe this is me like imparting my, actually maybe I'm having a revelation that this is what this is. I don't know if it's me like projecting my shame about how long it takes me sometimes to like go in between readings, or like this shame that I feel around, like if I put a pendulum down for a couple months and I don't touch it again, I can feel almost this like persnickety energy of like when I pick up my tarot cards after like a few weeks of not doing any readings for myself, and I just launch right in with like what's going on? Why am I so sad? They'll be like,
they're a little sassy.
No. Like, a little sassy with me. And I can experience that same kind of feeling with pendulum. So I like the idea of a warm up of like, hey, let's get reacquainted. This is my apology. I've been busy. It's been hectic, but I still love you. Am I 6'4"?
It's like small talk, right? Like you don't, I was watching a TV show last night. We're watching The Capture. If you want to binge a TV show, it's on Peacock. It's very good. But it's like a cop drama. And one of the cops goes up to the other cop and she's like, do we blah, 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 blah. Super intense question. And he's like, well, you don't do small talk, do you? And she's like, hey, how are you? And he's like, hey, good. How are you? Good. Do we blah, 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 blah. And so I see it as like,
that's my cards to me.
Yeah. So I see it as like the small talk, right? Like it's the foreplay of your reading is
saucy.
Tea. Anyways, there are like 3 primary ways that you can use your pendulum, at least 3 that we're going to talk about. As always, with any sort of spiritual practice, the opportunities are endless.
I actually just thought of a 4th one. So
there are 4 ways that you can use your pendulum. The 4th one will be a mystery to me and to you. So we'll keep you on the edge of your seat for that one.
I know. I've got a little surprise for you that I just remembered.
Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with energy healing, because I want to hear you talk about this, because this is not how I use my pendulum. And I want to get the thing that I don't know anything about out of the way.
Yeah, I love pendulums for energy healings. I use them a lot in my Reiki sessions, particularly when I'm doing in-person sessions. I don't use them as much for distance, just because the energy is so, like, it's so clear to me, the answers, without needing a tool like that. But when I do in-person sessions, I will often, quote unquote, check or balance people's energy centers with a pendulum. So I basically I ask it to show me open, show me closed. Or show me balanced, show me stagnant, show me, healthy, show me blocked, whatever kind of language. Usually I do based on whatever language my client uses. So if they're like, I feel like I'm blocked, I'm going to ask about blocked or whatever. And I will go over each of their energy centers, each of the major chakras, and then also both of their palms and both of their feet, and see. The goal is to get the pendulum to swing in the same direction at the same speed all the way down the body as a way of balancing. So I usually finish my sessions like that. But if there's ever a point in the Reiki session where I feel like the energy is not flowing, I will break my pendulum out and I will start at that section just to see what's going on. So it's a tool that I'll use in Reiki, in energy healing, in like crystal healing, in any of those like practices. Again, like I don't really use it in distance just because for me, I can see or feel the blockages in distance better than I can in person. In person, it's like, I don't know. I see energy in a different way when I'm in person with someone than I do at a distance. So I don't need as many tools at a distance. But yeah, it's a really fun way to play with that. I'll also do it for myself. So when I'm doing it for someone else, they're usually laying down and I'm hovering above each of their energy centers. I usually start at the crown and go down. You can do it for yourself. So you can hold it in front of your body and basically start like above your head and then come down so that it's rotating in front of your third eye, and then come down to the throat and the heart and the solar plexus and the sacral and the root, and then the palms and the feet. And it's a fun way to check your energy and see where you have imbalances. If there's a part that it's not swinging or it's swinging in the opposite direction, then you can either stay there and see if the pendulum just like smooths the energy out, or sometimes I'll start asking questions around like, is this blocked? Do I need more rest? Do I need more this? Do I need more that? Do I need more this? And just start asking questions that come to you intuitively, and usually it will like start to smooth out when you get the right answer.
That is so interesting, especially like if you're someone who does energy work who is a more visual person, like when you're doing Reiki on another person and there's like this kind of general idea that like you'll know when it's time to move on. And that's something that I can struggle with a lot. If you're someone who second guesses that, like, I feel like I might be ready to move on to another area, but I don't know, like having something to bust out that is like work. I am so visual in that way. Like I need, or like seeking confirmation in that way. I love that. And I'm stealing it immediately.
Yeah. And if anyone's like listening to this and is like, wait, you guys just talked about it's like your subconscious. So how the fuck does that work? The way that if you haven't listened to like our How Reiki Works episode, this is probably going to feel like totally woo-woo. So definitely listen to that one because the science is mind-blowing. But the way that I describe it, if you were to ask me like, how does that work with the pendulum? It's basically like my energy is responding to the energy of the person around me because we're connected in that way, and I'm actively connecting to their energy. And so the pendulum is basically responding to like the energy that I'm feeling. So it's almost like giving a voice to what I'm feeling in my hands in that more visual way, like you said.
I love that. So cool.
Yeah, try it out. It's really fun. Also, I will also do this if I've done a lot of energy work and my hands feel blocked. Like, I don't know if other people have this experience, but like sometimes I will feel like literal tension in my palms if I've done too much energy work for other people and I haven't done enough for myself.
Really?
And then I have a hard time connecting with crystals or other things that I pick up. So yeah, I will use a pendulum and clear the energy for my palms.
That's so cool. That's something that I've only ever used a pendulum for divination. And so seeing like different ways that it can be used is so much fun. I'm going to be using that immediately.
It is fun. Yeah. Let me know how it goes.
So next up is using your pendulum for divination, which is the only way that I've ever really known it to be used in the past. If you go into pretty much any metaphysical store, you'll see the pendulums kind of near the tarot cards with these little boards that will have basically like a printed out version of like the yes, no, the maybe sort of thing. And if you like that, go for it. You can use that instead of, if you want to set the rules instead of the pendulum, set the rules. You totally can. I prefer to do it the other way so that each pendulum can have its own sort of thing. And I find that it flows easier. Although I do love the boards that have the alphabet.
Ooh, I have a book that has like, it almost looks like a, what are those, protractors? But instead of numbers on the line, it's like different things. So it's like, it has different pages. So it's like, I can't even remember. I haven't looked at it in so long. But like one of them is like, which energy center is blocked, and it'll have all of them. And then it'll basically whichever one it swings over, or it'll be like, what is the next step in my life? And it's like, get a new job, or like get married, or like blah, blah, blah. Like it's got a bunch of them, or like, what herb do I need today, or whatever. It's got like a bunch of them, which is fun. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. That's really cool. I love that. Because so traditionally, since you're, asking show me your yes, show me your no, pendulums are most often used for yes or no questions, which for me can feel very limiting. But I love that because what I like that about the alphabet one is that you can spell out words. But as you can imagine, that takes forever. And there's a lot of room for error in my experience. And also your arm gets tired.
If I can find...
So I love a project.
Yeah, if I can find that
please.
book, we'll link it in the show notes. I've had it for years. Here's a fun fact. I actually lost my copy of the book and bought a second one and then used my pendulum to find the first one. So I think I still have 2 copies. If I do, I'm bringing one to you.
Please. Thank you. Love you. Mean it. But yeah, so in divination, pendulums are most often used for yes or no questions. And I'm actually going to stick my 4th reason in with divination because I did realize it is kind of a subset of that. You can also use it for decision making like in the world. So this is what I think you know where I'm going with this. This is my favorite thing. So if you listen, you know that my family has a metaphysical store, 2 metaphysical stores now. And so we do a lot of crystal shopping. My favorite thing to do in the world, I never do this because I always forget because crystal shopping for me is filled with so much chaotic energy that it's a wonder I make it out the door with my shoes on. But I love to see, it's something I almost always see with like older women who like you can tell they've had their metaphysical store for like 30, 40, 50 years. They will walk around the shows with their pendulum and walk up to every single stone.
Wow.
And have it swing yes or no for whether or not they should bring that crystal to their store.
Wow.
And I'm obsessed with it. And now instead of doing it at the crystal shows, I do it in like my normal shopping life. Where if there's something that I have been like lusting over, I will ask the pendulum if I need it. Yeah. And let it tell me. Pendulum shopping.
I remember very distinctly, I don't remember where I was shopping, but I was shopping somewhere and I was like, oh, should I buy this? And I really could not decide. And so I just grabbed my hoodie string and held it out in front of me and used it like a pendulum.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, it's really good. Anyways, our last one that is very useful for if you're like us and you have a squiggly brain and you lose everything, is you can use your pendulum to find lost objects, which is really fun. As I just, spoiler alert, said, I used it to find my pendulum book, which is very ironic. But how I do it, have you ever done this, Madison?
No.
Oh, okay. This is great.
Okay, so the thing about me is when I lose things, I block it out of my brain. And I just kind of live in the space that if I'm supposed to have something back, it will be returned to me.
Okay. Well,
I struggle. I panic when I look for things that I've lost. And so I just am like, well, that no longer exists in my brain. So I probably should do this. There are so many things. Do you know I lost my headphones for like 4 months?
Yeah, I do remember that.
When I lost my AirPods, it was horrible.
Anyways, you can use your pendulum. So how I do it is I will first ask, show me yes, show me no. And then did I lose it somewhere in my house? Yes or no? And then it's kind of like a game of Clue. It's like, did I lose it on the first floor? Yes or no? Did I lose it on the second floor? Yes or no? Did I lose it in the bathroom? Yes or no? Did I lose it in the bedroom? Yes or no? Did I lose it in the kitchen? Yes or no? And then you find the room and then you're like, is it under the fridge? Yes or no? Is it in the cabinet? Yes or no? Did I throw it away? Yes or no? Like you basically get closer. It's like playing hot or cold, but with a pendulum.
So when you first said that, when you wrote down for lost objects, I thought that was what it was going to be. It was going to be entirely like hot or cold, where you just walk around with the pendulum and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger the closer you get, like a metal detector.
I have heard of people do that. It doesn't work for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to play hot and cold with it.
I'll have to try both ways.
And sometimes I'll ask, am I getting warmer? And sometimes it'll swing faster.
Got it.
Yeah. But I like to have a direction before I play hot and cold because I have a lot of things that I could lose things in. So it's like, is it in a closet?
Yeah.
Is it under my laundry? You know, like, is it in my car? Is it in the front of my car? Is it in the back of my car? You know?
Is it in the trunk? Yes. Yeah, it would be difficult to crawl through your car holding the pendulum out, trying to maintain stillness with your dead mouse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's a really fun game. I've done it many times with success. I've also done it many times without success, and it's still fun. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to try that because I really do like not have great coping skills for losing things.
Yeah, there you go. Now you have a tool.
I'll report back.
Yeah,
next time I lose something. Now I'm sitting here being like, what am I missing that I blocked out recently that I can't find that I could play this with?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll report back. Follow us on Instagram. I'm sure you'll see it there, where I'll give you a tour of my hot and cold. Just film me as I go through my house.
Perfect. I love it. Well, that's pendulums. That's how they work and what to do with them. We wanna see your pendulum. So tag us over on Instagram if you get one, whether it's a crystal pendulum or it's a shoestring that you have tied a donut to.
Yeah, and let us know your favorite way.
Or it's a mouse. A mouse. I guess you technically could use a mouse as a pendulum.
Well, it would have to be live because if I think about a dead mouse for too long, I get really upset. And then a live mouse would just be crawling around, would be trying to escape your clutches.
All right. So maybe not a mouse pendulum.
I'm going to get custom made a pendulum that just has a little mouse on the bottom for you. I've spoiled Christmas, but that's what's happening.
Can't wait.
Okay.
Can't wait. Until next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison. All our links, from spells to ceremonies to ways to support us, are waiting in the show notes.
We'd love to hear your magic moment of the week. Share it in a review, tag us on socials, or bring it to our Patreon clubhouse at demystifymagic.com.
And remember, you are the magic.
Okay, love you.
Bye.